You're listening to The Front Porch Show. Some shows are niche shows, talking about specific topics. Others, shows about nothing. This show is the show about everything. On The Front Porch Show, we'll talk about current events, some news, a little bit of politics, along with a whole lot of life. Welcome to our Front Porch. 1-402-799-1811. You are listening to The Front Porch Show. Across the way from me is Just Jeff. Then over there, to my right, wanting to scream at millennials, it's Ozzy.
Which
I've
means he's
actually
screaming at himself in a mirror in
It's
the
true.
background.
I thought we were Xennials or something.
every morning. Nobody knows.
I thought we weren't in...
Tombstone. In Tombstone, we can ask him.
We're-
Tombstone, what are your thoughts?
Oh, that was an awkward
Thank you.
silence.
Thank you, Tombstone.
That was an awkward
Possibly
silence.
the most
I-
intelligent thing he's ever said.
I have come.
Wow.
This is going to be a good show.
He's not here to defend
That's
himself.
not true. That's not true. Tombstone is my ally in the war for sanity upon this show.
Right.
Mathis
How's
brought in
that-
Ozzy
How's that going?
months back to balance out our calm, serene intelligence with utter insanity.
Yes. He
And
brought me to bring
ever
balance.
since then, the insane asylum
And
has
the-
taken over.
The entire time Jeff's been looking at me, goes like, it's like, you know, like Anakin Skywalker or no, Obi-Wan, when he's like, you were supposed to bring balance.
Exactly. You were supposed to bring balance, and then Tombstone disappeared, or I disappear, and then all of a sudden we're unbalanced again.
Dude, I've decided I have a piece of leather here. I'm going to make a mask out of the leather.
Oh,
Just to have that awesome
Make an
leather smell
airtight
the whole
mask
time,
out of
you
the
know?
leather.
smell of leather and rich mahogany.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Hmm.
Give me that. I can go for that.
And then he's going to start a monthly box subscription service for
Well.
leather masks for men.
Yep.
That's
Only
different.
get one.
Look, we all said that the economy would change. We all said the economy would change because of
My
this, and it changed a lot.
Yeah.
Ozzy is now making
Numbers are terrifying.
masks. You think so?
Does anybody want a leather mask? You only have to wear it once. Never need it again. Especially if they're airtight.
Have you guys gotten into the whole mask craze?
No.
I haven't. I'm not wearing a
I'm-
mask. I don't care.
Dude,
I
nobody
have
lives in
been
your state.
provided some,
Pretty much.
but I'm not wearing them. I don't know. I don't know if any help that they offer balances the look,
Apparently,
especially in the
apparently,
fields I work in.
apparently, the CDC is now considering recommending masks. From what I saw last night, so
The
I don't know.
CDC also recommended we not do anything back when this whole thing started.
Right. What are
I
your
mean-
thoughts, Tombstone?
You do add
Thank you.
new new decisions when you receive new data. So I don't know that I'm going to fault them 2 months later for changing their recommendation.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, but
But for sake of argument, we will.
And when he means for sake of argument, he means just for not for the sake of his argument, but like
No, to
just
make an argument.
for
yeah.
the sake of arguing.
You're right.
really.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
just because it's fun, and that's what we do. Did
Everything's irrational anyway,
Are-
so why not go off the deep end on this?
so today, our local Walmart, I think it is local Walmart, Menards, which is a box store like a Lowe's or Home Depot, and our local shopping center, Hy-Vee, or grocery store, they are all, I think, only allowing a certain number of people in per store. And I heard something about 1,000 square feet per person. And so
How-
that's like
That's just coming
10
up with the
people in the
math.
store or something.
How do you maintain
And
that? I'm just
One-way
curious.
They
But 1,000
so
feet.
the Home
I thought
Depot
that's what it
here,
said.
1,000
No.
feet. That's
You don't maintain that per person. That's how they're calculating.
Yeah, that's how they're
many gonna
calculating how many
allow in
people.
the
So it's like 10 people
Oh.
per store.
okay. I was like, how do you do that?
They may all be fighting over the last bag of bread, but
Well, no, even
There's only
in
10
store,
people in the
even
store.
in store, they have to be all separated.
They probably got to keep 6 feet, but I mean, who's going to run up and force them to do
Well-
that? Because then you're not 6 feet away from them.
As I said, they are doing something along the lines of one-way aisles and
You just
workers
have to
monitoring
go
the
through
ails
You
and
just have
stuff.
to go through the store in a
Yes.
pattern, no
Yes.
matter what you want.
I guess.
Well, I was in the Menards here yesterday, 2 days ago, and they weren't limiting the number of people in the store. Now, there weren't that
Interesting.
many people in there when I went. I went later in the evening before their early close time now. But I heard the Home Depot here was limiting the number of people in the store, and there was a line outside. The Costco was limiting the number of people in the store, but the Sam's wasn't. So it's really varied.
Yeah, it
But-
depends.
but-
It depends a lot on the company and then whether or not they're willing to do those guidelines. Because I don't think anybody's really enforcing it yet, per se.
Yeah.
I think the guidelines
Except for
are there,
Texas.
and
Except for
you're
Texas.
supposed to be.
Good old
But
free
like
Texas.
they just started doing that here a couple days ago again, and they've been supposedly have been doing it for 2 weeks now, but
See,
they just started
where
doing it again here.
This is where the trouble comes down of deciding what's essential and what's not, and how much government force are you going to use to decide that. Because the minute you start you say only essential stuff can stay open, but there's a lot of stuff that could be quote unquote essential in a Menards or a Home Depot. If my plumbing breaks or the toilet clogs or
Right.
whatever, there's things that might pop up when you own a home that you need to run to the hardware store and fix something. But if the hardware store stays open and everyone's been told to stay home from work, you have what you have,
So-
which is everybody starts working on their spring projects. And so they're flooding the stores for the mulch and the yard and stuff. And like that
I
as
heard
well.
I heard that South Carolina is going only essential now. What are your thoughts on that, Tombstone? Thank you.
Very,
Thank you.
very insightful.
Thank you. Thank you,
Perfect,
Tombstone.
Perfect.
Now, I have heard about stores, and this would not surprise me because Aaron sent over that thing over text about them closing basically sections of the stores.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
that are
Yeah.
deemed unessential. I don't know if that's real because I mean,
I've seen debated results now on that.
I can confirm that is a thing, that they are doing that in certain situations, certain stores. But the thing about the seeds, though, that's where it gets me when you sent that, because I don't see any way, shape, or form that actual like seeds that you plant in the ground for fruits and vegetables. Well, I guess mostly vegetables, but how that is going to be deemed unessential, because if people are trying to start up a farm. Obviously, in Nebraska, that would be hard because the ground's frozen like 80% of the time.
People that
But I
are
don't
starting
understand-
a farm
I don't
aren't going to be
understand-
going to Home Depot for seeds. But
So
well,
they're,
okay,
they're
you're
gonna
right.
Vermont
But I know
Vermont
what you're
based
saying.
small farms.
Yeah,
quote,
garden.
unquote.
based on that article that I sent you guys. So it was a picture from the state of Vermont, my former state. Love the state of Vermont. Hate the politics. There was a sign from a store showing that seeds were non-essential and you couldn't buy them.
Yeah.
And per order of the governor. So the governor came out, I guess, with a statement, or the Department of Agriculture came out with a statement saying that production and delivery of seed is critical service within his stay-home order. And this was yesterday. We're hoping retailers and consumers alike restrict in-person shopping to items that need to be purchased and are time-sensitive in nature, while the state recognizes the importance of gardening as a source of food for many Vermonters. The ability to browse for seeds and purchase them in person does not outweigh the risk of spreading the virus. Retailers can continue to make seeds available online for delivery and curbside, but not in store. They are not allowed to sell them in store.
That is so weird.
So
why
So
can you sell fruits and vegetables?
Go
in
home,
the store?
Vermont. You're drunk.
now they haven't completely banned the sale of seeds. I'm not saying I support this, but I'm saying I was led to believe at the beginning of this they've completely banned the sale of seeds.
Yeah, that's
Well, see,
what-
that's what I was
curbside
under the
pickup.
impression as well.
You can get them curbside pickup. You can get them delivered to your house. I don't know.
But how does that differ from browsing the produce aisle?
Oh, that differs listen. I don't think the government put this much logic into it at all.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But if it's the seed things I've seen like at Home Depot and stuff, they're tiny little cardboard square stands with a billion little seed packets all over them. And if people are all wanting to get their seeds, there's 47 people huddled around this thing, digging through the packets. It brings a lot of people to a small space, touching a lot of things. Do I think the government put that kind of reasoning into it whatsoever? No, absolutely not. Could I come up with a way to justify it if I was forced to?
And this is what they're doing now.
How is that different? How is that different than a produce aisle?
Right.
I can't give you an answer for that one.
Yeah,
I got nothing.
I mean,
this is why you wouldn't make a good politician, Jeff.
This is how it's different than a produce aisle. The produce aisle has those fruits and vegetables already grown. That's the difference. Come on, Mathis.
Right,
get with the program. You got to grow the seeds.
How many times have you gone through and seen people that look at a bunch of bananas and then put it back and grab
put them back down?
One?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you always. There's this weird thing where
like
us city folk think we know the food, and like you can't ever pick up like the first one you pick up, the first potato, the first onion, the first bunch of bananas. You can't ever take the first one that you touch.
Right.
You like pick it up, you look at it, and you're like, there's got to be a better one. So you look at like 3 more.
Yes.
But then half the time you end up coming back to the first one. And in reality, what the heck are you looking for? You don't know. You're just looking at them to look like you know what you're doing.
The first one is the standard, and you're like, I need to either find a better or worse in the next 4 that I touch. Yes.
Which
that's what it is.
The reason
what it is. You're like looking at onions and you're like, this one looks all right.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a better one. Like, I don't need one that big. And then you're kind of looking and you're like, well, it can't hurt to have the big one.
Have you guys gone into stores and done this? And then you're like looking at the lady next to you, hoping that she's not going to like backhand you for it?
For touching all the onions,
for
yes.
touching
yes.
all of whatever it is. And you're like,
not since this has started.
See, everyone's like, hey, you need to wash your fruits and veggies when you get them home. It's not because there could be pesticides and stuff on it. It's because Karen was touching them. Every single one of them.
Chillax. Those things have been touched by so many people from the time they got pulled out of the ground to the time they showed up there at the grocery store.
I have to say, though, if you are going for fresh fruits and vegetables, that probably is one of the safest places because most people don't know what they're doing with those at this point in time. You go down, like, the junk food aisle, and it's half empty. But if you go down into the produce is, like, full. Anything that you have to take and make yourself from scratch, you can find all of the ingredients you need because people don't know how to cook.
Kraft mac and cheese is making a lot of money goodness.
Hey, the boxes were 10 for 10 the other day.
Yeah, they are.
No comment.
Listen, I bought bulk of mac and cheese back when it was not a popular thing to do, just because it was cheap.
Yeah,
I may or may not have purchased like 40 boxes of mac and cheese at one point in my life.
We have discussed Ozzy's mac and cheese recipes before on the show.
Have we? I think we need to start this again, Ozzy.
All right.
I think we need to start this again. The weekly mac and cheese. Because
Ozzy, like a 5-minute cooking segment.
Yes, Ozzy, you could do video of it, and
we could do video of it.
I like this. The audience.
Give the guy with 4 kids the ability
to do this. Yeah. But see, look here.
It's just going to be you making lunch for your 4 kids anyways. You're just going to film it.
Yeah, right.
That makes it so much easier.
It makes it so much more interesting.
Give the camera to the 4-year-old.
Yes.
It is what happens.
Yes.
You're going to wind up looking up his nose half the time.
Then that's part of the comedy of it.
It's great TV.
It's part of the bit. I'm a fan. Guys, did you see, was it Connecticut? The governor comes out a couple days ago and claimed a baby died of coronavirus, and it turns out the kid didn't die of coronavirus.
Yes, I saw that. I did see that.
It was completely fabricated, made up. And he's like, well, the people told me that it died of, coronavirus. And it's like, no.
Nobody's worse than Trump at these press briefings. See, that's the Connecticut guy was a genius.
You mean the guy from Georgia who After, we've been dealing with this for 2 months, the governor of Georgia comes out and goes, I didn't realize that asymptomatic people can spread it. And it's like, what? What? What rock have you been living under, man? I understand you're governor and I understand you're busy, but that's a critical thing to know. Like, of all things you need to know at this point.
Especially with the amount of people around you who can have that knowledge.
Yes.
And tell you.
Yes, exactly.
Like, there's little
like, for example, all the listeners to
get.
our show would have had that knowledge.
Yes.
Maybe the governor of Georgia just needs to listen to our show. Ozzy, can you get on that?
I'll get rid of that.
As a former resident of that state, Ozzy, that is your job.
Really have those hookups. We need to get that lady that yelled at those people for the cornhole game to yell at him.
This is a cornhole tournament fundraiser.
This is a virus.
Yes.
Straighten up.
To be fair, the South is just acting like nothing exists anyways, as we saw some of the creepy data where they're tracking us.
South Carolina.
Well, actually, that wasn't data tracking. That was at what date did these states start enforcing like social distancing, I think. And the South still has yet to do it. So
it depends on the state.
it was a few. The chart was a few days old, but I sent you guys that chart.
I was watching the news last night, actually, to my great dismay at this moment in time because it was horribly depressing. But they were saying that there are very few states. I think South Carolina was one. So, Tombstone, what are your thoughts on that? Okay.
Thank you, Tombstone. Thank you.
There were a couple others in the Midwest that were, and I couldn't name exactly which ones. I'm not sure, but I think there were maybe like 6 or 10 states that didn't have the stay in place.
So we're not in the stay in place right now. We are not in the stay in place right now. Granted, we don't have really anyone living here, so there's that. But
the people of Nebraska are like, we've been doing this for years.
Exactly. There's a reason I moved here, guys.
We only go out once a month.
Is just,
and we avoid everybody when we do.
The show.
Social distancing is our way of life. I don't understand what's wrong.
Why else would you live in this state?
Exactly. It's like I moved here to social distance. I guess I moved here for the beautiful scenery as well, but and the good deer hunting.
Oh, that corn is so nice.
Oh, for Pete's sake. You and half the other people in this nation. Nebraska's only got corn. I don't know why anyone would want to be there or in Kansas or anywhere else. It's just so ugly.
I live in the Midwest as well, Mathis. I understand.
You don't live in the Midwest. You bull crap. Michigan is not the Midwest.
Michigan is the Midwest.
No.
For the official regions. The official regions of the country. Oh, my goodness.
I'm claiming the Rockies then. I will not be in the same region as Michigan. I refuse.
Michigan is also one giant cornfield, basically.
It kind of is. I mean, you see, the funny thing is, I think you guys actually have less trees than we do, it's particularly down in the southern part. No, am I totally off on that?
Also, in your ginormous quote unquote lake/oceans. So I think we lost Jeff.
Well,
so basically, Jeff has turned into Tombstone again. So for the rest,
you cut out there for a second. You say we had less trees than you.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Like, what state has the most trees?
Probably Alaska.
Or what percentage?
Boom.
And Ozzy and I agree on something.
I can't believe you didn't know that.
I want to know what tree. What
is that?
What
the trivia
states?
Question today? Because we both win.
Yes.
What states are covered the most by forest? I guess here. Okay,
Alaska.
Maine is 86%. New Hampshire 84%. Good
Okay,
heavens.
all right.
percentage coverage does not say the
Essentially-
most trees.
Yeah, but
Essentially-
percentage coverage of forest, that
Because
makes sense to me.
Connecticut
Let me clarify
is
this.
80% covered, but Texas is 50% covered.
Never,
Texas would have
never
more
mind,
trees.
Jeff. You win.
No,
I mean,
no,
we're
listen.
3% covered.
I can
3%
tell
trees. The Upper Peninsula is like 99%.
We're
trees.
second. We're second from the bottom.
Wow.
We are second from the bottom. North
Wow.
Dakota being number 1.
Is that your main tourist attraction? Is like your 15
trees?
trees?
Okay, so see, I was
This is the oldest tree in Nebraska. It's 10 years old. We planted it 10 years ago.
the most of the trees around here got planted back in the 1930s and 40s and 50s when the government was paying people to put in shelter belts because they were running into the issue of erosion.
I do not know what a shelter belt is.
Okay, shelter belt is like rows of trees around farmland. It shelters the animals, shelters the crops. Because the wind blows across the plains, and as soon as they started plowing the plains, they were getting erosion. And so the trees prevent the wind from whipping across the plains and
Usually when we
eroding the
plow,
land.
We usually get fruits and vegetables and stuff in my state when we plow. We don't try and grow erosion.
Yeah.
Oh boy,
I,
he's trying to.
and meat comes from the grocery store, doesn't it? Why would you have a
Depends.
farm?
It depends.
I see your
That.
district. I don't believe it. That's the government defense district.
Wait, what is the green?
It's
I don't
actually
care if
the,
I'm in your FEMA
Petroleum
district.
Administration. It's the Petroleum
I
Administration.
don't care if I'm in your
Defense
FEMA
District.
district.
But yes, the Midwest includes the Great Lakes. Now, if you want to break them down further, there's
I
the
will
Great
not
Lakes
be in a
region.
FEMA camp with you.
But the Great Lakes region is part of the Greater Midwest.
Okay, so let's see where Michigan ranks in here. I need to find Michigan. Oh man, Guam has
Understand why we're
Guam.
arguing about
Guam has
this
more
is like
forest
my dad
than
could beat up your dad in like
Guam has more
grade.
forest
Like,
than Nebraska.
Yes,
I
it
just-
is.
I don't understand
Michigan,
why
it's
we're
got
arguing about
55%
trees.
forest. I'm not arguing with you.
What is-
I'm curious.
So not
Where's my
only
state?
are we more rural, we also have more industry than Nebraska.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
So
whoa, 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 whoa,
basically,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
Nebraska
whoa, whoa,
shouldn't
whoa, whoa, whoa.
exist.
Not rural. You're not more rural.
More of us are covered in forest.
Hold on.
Forest
and we
doesn't
have
mean
the auto
rural.
industry.
Can I just say this?
You had
Basically-
the auto industry.
basically
Had. I'm sorry, Ozzy. What was that?
I was like, basically, all you have to look at is states that should be part of Canada have more trees.
Let me look at this map here.
Or states that are north of Canada.
California,
Right, exactly.
Oregon, Washington, most of New England.
Let's be specific, though. It's
Ah,
Northern California.
New York.
It's not Southern
Yes.
California.
My only issue is Appalachia. That has a lot of trees, guys.
Is that a state?
Well,
I don't remember that being part of the state.
It's apparently a region, according to Mathis. I'm just kidding. It's obviously a region.
it is a reason, you idiot. Someone
No,
didn't
but I
take
wanted to get your
geography.
reaction,
You fool!
And it was perfect. It was perfect.
I took Bible geography. I can tell you how many trees are in, around Israel and Jerusalem.
I took it twice. I can tell you how many bugs are on those
Apparently.
trees.
I almost had to take it twice. It was
apparently
bad.
he can't
Okay.
tell you much if he had
So-
to take it twice.
No. So I had an 8:00 class.
He potentially could tell
I
you twice. as
8:00
much as he
Bible
used to.
geography class with I don't even remember what was the guy's name.
Nobody
Was it
cares.
Beal? No, it
Nobody
wasn't
cares
Beal.
about your 8:00. Wasn't ours at
Oh boy,
5? I think
folks,
mine
we're
was
in the
at 5.
opening segment
In the morning?
Or
and
not 5,
Mathis is
7.
telling
I
us.
think it was the 7.
Well, then it
class
was
that
a
I
se-
had for Bible geography.
Then it was 7:00 for me as well because it was super early.
Early, yeah.
And
it was
like
early.
the entire class, they shut off the lights, and the guy just goes through slides
Dude would just go through slides
of his trip to the Holy Land.
Yeah, to Jerusalem and Israel.
And so it's like, no wonder why I didn't.
Dude.
I passed the first time, but the problem is when you become a Bible major, you got to get a B or higher in that class. So I didn't have a B.
Sure, Aaron, sure.
I am
It was not
routinely
good.
accused of being the boomer around here, and you two are sitting around talking about back in the day in your Bible geography class in college.
Oh, the dude,
Your
dude,
time will come, Jeff.
Jeff,
Your
the
time
dude
will
pulled
come.
out transparencies.
He did.
It's
He
like
Yeah,
we were
that's just
no.
dating us at this point.
Yeah, I feel really old now.
This was like 2000, what, 7 or 8?
Yeah,
It
I
really
think
wasn't
so.
that long ago. I guess it is now, but
Yeah, that was good times. Good times,
was
guys.
it though?
Nah, not that class. I had a lot better classes.
It was a rough class. It was.
Yeah, I
Just
don't
to
know.
give an update, we're still in the opening segment.
Oh, are we?
And it
Should we?
is- As traditional, it is
We-
way off the
We
rails.
have literally burned through our entire talking points for the rest of the show.
I mean,
We're done.
so we're done.
Have a
I
good-
mean, we'll
have a
see you.
good-
We'll see you next week. No, next segment. We'll be right back.
The entire first half, we got hit in the mouth and acted like somebody took our lunch money, and all we wanted to do was have pouty expressions on our face until somebody daubed our little tears off and made us feel better. And then, then we'd go out there and try harder once our mommies told us we were okay.
Families is where our nation finds hope, where wings
Just Jeff
take
left
dream.
channel and disconnected.
Jeff,
Just Jeff entered channel.
you there, Jeff?
There.
I'm here.
Okay, we're gonna start that again
Why'd you stop it?
because you left the channel and it said, "Just Jeff has left the channel."
Oh, does it put that
Yeah,
in there?
whenever you
Yeah.
move it, yeah.
All right,
I was trying to fix some issues.
3, 2. I love that intro, by the way.
The entire first half, we got hit in the mouth and acted like somebody took our lunch money, and all we wanted to do was have pouty expressions on our face until somebody daubed our little tears off and made us feel better. And then, then we'd go out there and try harder once our mommies told us we were okay.
Families is where our nation finds hope, where wings take dream.
This thing was 10 foot tall.
I hear it had beautiful hair. What's that, Ozzy?
Can we just, during this time of crisis, we need Coach Leach to be doing news.
Okay, did you see the other day?
I mean,
you imagine,
isn't Trump
hearing-
basically Coach Leach doing the news? And everyone
Not really.
complains
He's
about
not-
that?
He doesn't present it as well, though.
Coach Leach got in trouble the other day, guys, and issued an
Yeah.
apology on Twitter
Oh, no.
for posting a picture of, I guess there was a woman and a man in the photo, and the woman was knitting a noose, quarantine noose for her husband, and
Oh,
people
that-
got very offended by it.
That just seems
Yeah.
funny. And also, yes, they were not offended over the threat of hanging the man. They were offended that the woman was doing the knitting.
Probably. Probably. Oh, I got more on that if you want to. Not that specifically, but the field hospitals in New York.
Oh, isn't
We'll
that
talk about
ridiculous?
That is ridiculous. So
So
we'll
who's-
talk about that too.
Who's doing the field hospitals in New York?
It is Samaritan's Purse.
Right. All right. Do you want to talk about that now? We can talk about that now.
That just reminded me. I mean, we can talk about it later. That just kind of derailed your entire thing, kind of. But
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. I'm flexible either way.
yeah,
But let's talk about that now because we've
All right.
already introed it.
all right, let's go into it. So,
Yeah,
This is how fluid things are. in the show.
it is. It's a stream of consciousness, Jeff.
I know.
You just
I
don't.
know. I don't know. It's a stream. I don't know that I would call it consciousness, though.
It's a
It might
stream
be
that flows one way.
It might be a stream of
Takes
something else.
dramatic turns. Oh man, now he's gonna make me pull this up.
Now you can't find it?
No, I
So-
didn't even look at it. I was just.
It's
making a
more like
comment about
don't
it.
drink downstream from the herd is more
So
what the
Samaritan's
show is.
Purse is it the Franklin Graham organization? I mean, or the
I
Billy Graham
believe so.
organization?
Yes.
Yes, I believe so.
And they, whenever there's a
There's-
disaster or anything, they typically get involved and try to bring some relief.
Right, and they have set up field hospitals in Central Park in New York City to help all of those who need help.
Pretty awesome.
So you can go there and get help from them. And there are a bunch of the LGBTQ WWE, I don't know, whatever the acronym is now. I'm not really sure anymore. Some people are offended because a bigoted Christian group is helping people.
Those dang Christians and their desire to help people.
Yeah, it's
So-
another one of those. How dare you help everybody without any respect to
Right.
anything and just
Right.
offer them aid for the
I
same
think-
reation that people were boycotting the Salvation Army.
I was going to say, I think what would put them over the edge is if Chick-fil-A was offering free sandwiches in like the, in the tent next door. Like
Well,
that would have
we-
just put everybody way over the edge. Like
it would have put them
they're
over
trying
the edge. But
they're
as we
trying to
discovered,
save the people of New York City, but they're not actually trying to save them. They're trying to save their souls. How dare you?
So it turns
No,
out
they're not.
but as we discovered, Chick-fil-A actually donates to all those same things that those people want.
What?
So
Charity? How dare you?
Jeff,
How
shut
dare
your
you
mouth.
Donate to a charity.
hey, you guys just don't like that.
Shut
we
your mouth,
expose
Jeff.
all that. You just don't like it.
I'm not
Right,
discussing
no.
that today. I could really go for a Chick-fil-A sandwich right now. That'd be amazing.
Dude.
Does sound good.
I am not kidding, man.
They
I'm
are kicking
very
butt with
tempted.
the walk-up only order stuff too, because I did that the other day while I was
do
out
they-
traveling.
Do they ever not? Chick-fil-A never does anything badly. I mean, I'm
Like,
sure
literally-
they do at some point, but it's like how could we transition this into being still beneficial enough to make money? I'm sure they're still making money and still have people employed and everything. And it's like, oh, you mean being awesome at drive-through, and then focusing all of our resources at being awesome in drive-through? Yeah, we can do that.
No idea. We take our tax dollars and pay Chick-fil-A to run the DMV.
The entire government. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Let's start with the DMV.
I would be.
I mean,
okay
when you
with the
call-
government
when you
smelling
call
like
up-
chicken,
When you call up the Department of Commerce
I want.
and the person before they hang up says, and you
I-
thank them, and they're like, "My pleasure." And you're
I
like, "What?"
have a vision, my friends, of the District of Columbia getting out of my car to go to a museum and smelling a Chick-fil-A sandwich wafting on the air.
I smell that every time I get in your car, but usually it's like 3-day-old Chick-fil-A.
You know who has like a real serious opinion about this is Tombstone. Tombstone, what are your thoughts?
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
I agree.
That's good.
I agree.
So basically, what we're saying is,
Okay,
if Chick-fil-A took over the government, we'd be basically living in Canada, right?
No, we would be thankful.
Oh, goodness, no.
Because everything would be super polite.
No. First off, they may be slightly polite, but it's not as clean and happy up there in Canada as people think.
Oh yes, says Flint, Michigan.
There's no people.
I have traveled the major cities in Canada frequently. The airports are fairly filthy.
Which basically means he's been
The
to every
cities-
city in Canada because there's only like
cities-
4.
I would prefer
The
if we called
cities are
Canadian.
packed full of people. Everybody and their mother up there smokes with no regard to no smoking areas.
That is a bad thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
it's
New
not.
Jersey thing too,
It's
man.
not
Like,
what everybody
ugh,
makes it out to
terrible.
be. At least in the city areas, it's just the same as New York up there.
So basically, the entire country is New York. Is that what you're saying?
No, because there's not very many city areas up there. But
Oh.
in the city areas, it's basically New York.
Yeah.
All right, we are way off topic,
So,
which I think
yes.
had to do with New York and Central Park and
It was
Samaritans.
a nice try to bring it back around, by
the
the way. Nice try.
And if that's all you guys had to say about it was those
No.
few sentences that people were protesting the field hospitals, then we built
No.
up this entire segment for nothing.
No. Basically, the point is that the people in New York, especially the organizations. They hate Christians more than they love their neighbors.
Now, let me throw something out to you. What if it was Planned Parenthood also doing field hospital stuff to help people with coronavirus?
Yeah, but
How
here's
would
the
you feel
thing.
about
Here's
that?
the thing.
How would you feel about
Here's the
that?
thing. They wouldn't. There's a difference. They wouldn't.
What if they were doing? How would you receive it? I just want to play
Good.
that side
Good
of it,
for
since
that.
we're
Good for them. They're
completely
actually
out of
saving a
pocket.
life this time.
Well, you say that here in the heat of the moment.
No, I'm serious.
See
Good for
Osland
them.
being much more contemplative over there, and I think that's much more the right response to this tricky, dirty question.
I don't know. I don't know how I would deal with it. I think that, if it is help and help is coming and they're spending it on the correct resources, I would like to say that I would be willing, but I would definitely not be looking to them. Like they would definitely not be my first, second, third, or fourth choice. They would be like my last resort. I would go.
Yeah,
Just
and Mathis is right.
You know,
They would be setting up a tent to just give out free abortions in Central Park while everyone actually needed coronavirus aid. Like, obviously, they wouldn't necessarily do it. I mean, that's another story that different states where governors have said, okay, if they're stopping kind of non-essential medical services to free up the essential stuff, the states where governors have tried to shut down elective abortions as non-essential, there's been like utter backlash from Planned Parenthood. I just figured I was trying to come up with something quick. There's probably other organizations I could have come up with. I was just interested to get your take on somebody basically that you don't agree with, that you think is literally evil, and would you take aid from them? I think most of us would be reasonable enough that if we needed medical aid, I don't check who's giving me my medical aid if they're purely just giving me medical aid and I'm not even paying them a ton of money or anything,
Right. Right.
But see, here's the thing: are they Samaritan's Purse? I'm guaranteeing you, they are not charging anything.
No, I'm sure this is. We haven't got the exact details, but I'm sure this is like disaster relief type stuff. I mean, this is volunteer organizations, Red Cross, that kind of thing. So I'm sure it's all extra aid.
Right.
Well, right. And so I guess what I'm saying is if it's free, I mean,
don't look a gift horse in the mouth is what you're saying.
Pretty much.
So,
guys, I want
to having any effect between those field hospitals and then the U.S. Navy hospital ship that's rolled up Hudson? Like, what's the word?
So they said that hospital ship has only had 20 patients.
It's got 1,000 beds.
And as of yesterday, it was only 20 patients, I believe.
Is that a good thing? Or
what
is
was
that
the reason?
Like they're just...
Now, the other thing I heard was that the hospital ship was going to take other type cases to relieve room in the hospitals for the corona cases.
That's what I heard too.
Headline in the New York Times is
unreliable at best.
I understand that.
If you're looking for a description of a New York Times headline, that's what I figured. Unreliable at best would probably be a...
Okay, 1,000-bed Comfort was supposed to aid New York, has 20 patients.
Interesting.
Why?
It's a joke, says top hospital executive whose facilities are packed with coronavirus patients. Well, okay. Why are the 1,000 beds not being used?
I don't know. That's curious.
Now, I bet you they're being really strict on what kind of cases they bring on board to avoid a situation like we were going to talk about this segment.
Right.
We'll talk about next segment, which is the Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, you can't have coronavirus going around a ship. We've seen the cruise ships. We see this aircraft carrier now. I'm sure that's why they said we're going to relieve the non-corona medical on the ship so that the hospitals on land can take care of the
do you remember back when the talk was originally going around about these ships, that the media was freaking out and they're like, yeah, the president says they can use the ships, but it's going to take months because they're under repair.
Yeah, who was it that said he said they'll be there next week, and
they're like, no, it won't.
Like,
it's
months, be there.
months.
The day he said they would be there, they rolled in.
Right, exactly.
Now, who knows how many strings were pulled to make it happen? Who
cares? Who cares? He did it though.
What he did it. let me throw a theory out there. What if they were under repairs? He pulled strings to get it there for the optics, but the reason that it only has 20 passengers on it is half the ship's still under repair.
It also
that's
possible.
I don't think so.
I don't think that's the case. Let me say I don't think that's the case.
It also
I'm just
may
saying.
be something. It also may be
I watch
something
House of Cards
specific.
too.
It also may be something like, for instance, the ships probably aren't as large as the hospitals as far as being set up in the exact same way, because I would suspect these ships aren't specifically geared towards dealing with viruses that are highly contagious and can spread. This is probably more like a field hospital where they're able to accept and do trauma, but you know what I mean? Because it's probably a smaller space, like a more enclosed space. There's probably a lot more factors that have to be considered.
They've got to have.
When taking
they have
on
to
patients.
have some. I'm sure they have some viral and biological weapon capabilities because that's a potential threat for our troops. But you don't want to be stuffing all these people with a virus on a boat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why
there's 49 conditions that they do not allow people on the ship for, and I'm not seeing that list. But I am curious about it.
They may have to, in that, I guess, checking of the people or whatever, you may have to have people that are absolutely confirmed that they do not have the virus. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you showed up at a hospital
very slowly, but you may have to wait, 2 weeks before you could potentially get onto the ship where they're absolutely certain you don't have it, to bring it on and then spread it to everybody else.
Especially if you wandered into an emergency room first for something else and are around all the other sick people.
Right. And that being the challenge in most hospitals now, where even if you have 2 or 3 patients in there, all of a sudden, one patient could have been out in the general pop for a while, and then you don't know. You just don't know. Yeah. And so our local hospital ended up quarantining a bunch of staff because of their interactions with one patient who they didn't know was sick.
That's interesting.
And it was person was in the general pop, came in for a different illness, and it took her fast. And it's tragic. It's absolutely tragic.
Yeah, it's hard.
And I don't want to buy into the ridiculous hype of, billions are going to die or whatever, Yeah, we're looking into a real rough next couple weeks. Yeah. And if we don't, get things taken care of, and mitigated, it could be worse. Now the big questions are the numbers. We don't know the numbers. Ozzy and I were talking about this before the show.
Right,
we don't know the numbers. I mean, there's testing going around that maybe people have already had it. There's other testing going around that says people haven't had it. And so who knows?
The problems with the tests is they're
no good data.
Right.
And the tests aren't reliable. That's the problem. Is you're talking about tests that are taking a few weeks to come up with, not months or years to come up with. So it's kind of where are we looking?
No,
so
yeah, you're right.
That's the hard part.
And that's the thing. So I have said before, we aren't going to know how bad this was until 6 months down the road when we start looking at numbers.
Plus the people that aren't going to hospitals are going to get tested.
Right.
Those are the numbers that I would like to know, but I don't think we're ever going to really know those beyond some afterwards, a year or two afterwards where you can tell. Because, you're talking about, I don't know, what are we at, 250-ish thousand or something like that, I think, in the U.S., and it could be in the millions by now.
Right.
But not everybody's going to go to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's going to have the same thing.
So we'll
see. Reading
between the lines in our county, our health district basically said, if you're sick, quarantine yourself for 2 weeks. Yep. We're not even testing.
Yep.
Because it can take up to 8 days for a test to come back. And it's like by then it's like you should have already been quarantined anyways. So what are you doing?
That's most things. Here they're doing testing. From my understanding, at the hospitals, if you have certain symptoms, they're going to test you, but you have to meet those criteria first.
Yes.
And so by the time you meet those criteria, they're pretty sure you have it.
Yep.
So, you're almost like...
And you've already been infecting everyone else.
Right, and you're at a high rate that test is going to be confirmed, and then you have tests that are taking place at 2 different locations in Jersey that are testing a few thousand people a day. But again, if you get the test, the thing is, this disease isn't deadly, quote unquote, to the extent of, okay, if you get it, you have like a 50-50 chance of living or dying.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what's the good of getting the test if you're sick? Because if you don't need to go to a hospital, don't go to the hospital.
Right.
Nobody's ever going to know you were sick.
You have a higher risk when you go to the hospital, because if you don't have it, you're going to get it.
Well, potentially.
Yeah,
It's not. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's the amount of people that are going to just be sick because, they get the flu, they get the respiratory thing where they have a little bit of trouble breathing, but it's not bad enough to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Those are the people that there is no point in testing, because what is it going to do? It's going to confirm, oh, yes, I have it, so what are you going to do? You're going to stay at home. And
You're
it's
going
like,
home.
well,
Yep.
if you were sick anyway, what would you have done? Just stayed at home.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
What's the point? Beyond knowing the numbers,
Yep.
That's the only other point.
Yeah, exactly. That and that's the thing. All right, when we come back, we need to talk about this ship in Guam, the USS Teddy Roosevelt,
Yes.
or Theodore Roosevelt. I'm sorry.
Theodore.
She said, oh man, the building is on fire. I said, no, what? I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
The fact that they purchased the machine meant somebody had to make the machine. And so when somebody makes a machine, it means there's jobs at the machine-making place.
But glad to get out of here with a win. This is a tough place to do it. And, once in a while, a pirate can beat a soldier,
Thank you, Coach Leach.
They need to find that lady, interview her, because I want to know what her thoughts are on coronavirus.
Oh no! So I have a longer. Hold on.
I ain't going to the hospital.
I think I have the longer bit of that on the board
man.
here.
She's so good. She's so good.
Is it this? No, not that. Hold on. Let's see here. Is this it?
Shut up, Karen.
No, that's not it.
Karen.
Let's see.
How dare you?
No, that's not it. Hold on.
She said, oh man, the building is on fire. I said, no, what? I got my 3 kids and we bounced out. We ain't gonna be in no fire, not today.
No, I don't have the whole thing. I'm sorry.
Well, that was disappointing, wasn't it?
I know. Well, there was. Let's see what else.
And now you see what we deal with,
creep.
folks.
Yeah, no, I didn't. No. Anyways, sorry. Where were we? What were we doing? Oh,
I really don't know.
We're doing.
Oh, Ozzy was mentioning some of his heroes have survived coronavirus. Apparently.
Oh, that's right.
Gracious. Yes. For those of you who know, this is not my hero, by the way. But for those of you who care,
Not.
Pink has survived her coronavirus experience.
The only one I care about is Tom Hanks. Do we have an update from Tom Hanks?
I saw a volleyball floating by the other day. So
As long as you and who was it? Was it Brian? Seeing bodies floating by. Who was that?
I quite frankly would love to.
Brian
see...
Williams. You and Brian Williams.
Oh.
I would love to see if people how many beach or how many volleyballs Tom Hanks wound up getting sent.
Oh, I'm sure he's tired of that.
He was on an island
But seeing
Like,
You
could it
you
get
did
more
see he got
perfect?
sent the one Wilson
Yes.
volleyball though with the hand.
but
on it
seeing
and
as how
everything.
he is
So good.
he
So
is he is Mr. Rogers, he can't get mad anymore. Like he can't publicly be like, stop. He
true.
can't do that.
It's true.
He's
just
not
gotta
allowed.
Take it
Yeah.
in stride and be like, "You people are great. Thank you."
Yes, exactly. He can't say anything
But
against it now.
Behind the mask, we know.
He's just like us. We know, we relate. There was we haven't heard from Rand Paul.
That's true. 'Cause
Rand
he
Paul?
he was a confirmed positive case, or he had just been exposed.
No, he was
So
confirmed
decided to
positive.
stay-
Confirmed positive. But remember, he's rocking one lung. So high risk. High risk.
Is he really rocking one lung, or is he now healed up from that neighbor attack?
They removed one lung.
All of it?
Yes.
I don't recall any of this.
Are you serious?
Mainly because I don't worship Rand Paul quite like you do, but no.
No, not like
Hold on,
you.
hold on.
Not like you and Amash.
He had
Um,
part
Who?
of his lung removed.
Oh. Yeah, I don't.
Part
I
of his
highly
lung.
doubt they took a whole lung.
Oh, part of his
Surgeons
lung.
removed a portion of Rand Paul's lung that was damaged.
And that was all due to the
Being
rib breakage
attacked
from
by-
the neighbor attacking him.
Aaron would have been like, "Yeah, they took off half of his head."
No.
Yeah. They
You didn't
removed
see
the
that?
middle third of his body in a surgery and then put him back together. He's a little shorter now, but
Hey, that's possible.
and they did that while I was watching Reagan talk to Gorbachev.
Oh, good
staring down
heavens.
The wall.
The technology was amazing for 1987.
Hold on. What are your thoughts on this tombstone?
Oh.
Ah, thank you. Thank you.
We're at least doing a
Thanks
good
for
job of
having
not
my back,
talking over
Tombstone.
Tombstone today.
Thanks for having my back,
Never
Tombstone.
has your back. Okay. So, we have not
completely
heard
inaccurate.
from Rand Paul, and yet notorious RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who's like 1,227 years old, is still going to the gym daily or multiple times a week or whatever her routine is.
Do you think that
If we needed proof, if we need any more proof that she's actually a robot,
do you think
cyborg, that this might
I
be it.
completely agree with that statement.
do you think that he thought about this and that what she would go through when Abraham Lincoln appointed her to the court? I'm just curious. I
Hey,
mean,
she figures she made it through the Spanish flu, so round two, not gonna matter.
so
That's terrible. That's terrible. You know, I saw an article about this where it's like Ruth Bader Ginsburg still going to the gym, keeping her schedule, not letting this slow her down. And then it's like she's going to the private Supreme Court justice's gym below the court
where 7 people can.
where only 7 people can go, and none of the other justices are really
I don't-
going right now, from what I read. And her trainer is like staying 6 feet away from her, and it.
How does that work, considering like the rest of the country they had to shut down gyms because they're non-essential?
Well, court's essential,
Yeah, but the gym for the court's not.
but it's
Unless-
private. It's
unless they
private.
deemed
It's
it
private.
essential.
When you're the-
Unless they
when
deemed
you're
her
the-
deemed it essential to keep her alive.
I mean, when you're essentially the ruling superpower in the land, because we've seen how the court has taken a much more prominent position than is
Yeah.
probably originally indicated in our structure of government, you know, you can do what you want. So your gym stays open.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
All right. Well,
So about that.
we're,
About that.
yeah.
About
Yeah,
that.
You're avoiding that one, huh?
that's-
I tried to
that's
poke
how-
the bear with Mathis, and he
that's
just bails
how-
out.
That's how the boat floats. Oh,
Oh, speaking of boats,
there you go.
the next
Pretty
story
good.
takes us to the USS Theodore Roosevelt. This is the aircraft carrier. It's floating out by Guam. There, it's the aircraft carrier that normally patrols the is it the South China Sea?
Do they have like large sticks that are just on board for like every member of that ship that they can just carry over in case China starts going crazy?
I think they should. They just
also
issue
speak
sticks
very
when they get on
softly.
board.
Yeah. That would be awesome. They have loudspeakers. No, they don't have loudspeakers. They wouldn't
They
have
have
loudspeakers.
soft speakers.
There are no loudspeakers on that ship, but there are an abundance of sticks.
So last
puns
week, Captain Brett Crozier sent a letter up the chain requesting that his sailors, at least the sick ones with coronavirus, be released from the ship, except for the very, very essential sailors on that boat be left on board to make sure that
we forgot to preface this with the fact that there's an outbreak of coronavirus on this aircraft.
Well,
carrier
that's why I said,
yes.
this
is 5,000.
he had coronavirus.
So he's got a crew of about 5,000 sailors.
Yeah,
so.
5,000 sailors, and there's about 100 or so that are currently sick, or showing symptoms. But the odds are is that there's more that are either sick or going to be sick very soon. And so he sends this letter up the line, and
did he send it up the line?
Well,
or did
okay,
he send
okay.
it around the line to the very top.
He may have sent it around the line to the very top. He
did still send it to the top, not to random sources, correct?
Okay. So here's the question. Here's the question. So that is a question that definitely needs to be asked. So the captain sends the letter. I think he sent it to the Pentagon, or a high-ranking official in the Navy, saying, "Hey, these guys need to get off," because obviously he thought that his superiors were not taking this seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And so he requested that the sailors be allowed to disembark in Guam, literally rent hotels on Guam, and
follow quarantine protocol
to make sure that his crew was safe and ready to act should they be needed. Sounds like okay leadership thus far. The confusing factor comes into play when last week, the San Francisco Chronicle got a copy of this letter. San Francisco is kind of his hometown. I believe he lives in San Jose. And so the theory was that he leaked it to them.
Right.
Whether or not he did or not, that remains up for discussion. But the Navy has since fired the captain, and he was released to a standing ovation. His crew all came out on the hangar deck and cheered him off.
So there's a lot of things, a lot of different levels at play.
Yes.
First off is obviously chain of command.
So, right. We haven't ever served in the military, but since we do a radio show, we know a lot about it. Because that makes us professionals.
That explanation just sounded terrible. Some of us have a great interest in the military and military history. At one time, explored careers in the military.
There you go. Yeah.
So obviously, there's such a thing as chain of command.
We know just enough to make us dangerous.
Exactly. To get probably half of this wrong.
He supposedly avoided that and went around.
Well, yeah. So that's my first question. At the beginning, was he passing this up the chain of command and his direct superiors were ignoring him, not taking him seriously, trying to keep it quiet for security, whatever reason? Did he follow the correct chain of command and then was getting bad responses and so then went direct to the top? Or did he go direct to the top from the beginning? Unfortunately, in very, very structuralized environments, which the military, obviously there's a chain of command, there's no question, but you get into some businesses and some entities in the civilian world that are also just by tradition very chain of command like, and while it's not regulatory that you follow the chain of command, you will ruffle feathers and tick people off if you jump to the top to try to get something done.
Right. And that's where I think the issue is, because on Wednesday the I guess it's the Secretary of the Navy Modley said that Crozier would not be disciplined for Captain Crozier would not be disciplined for expressing his concerns through the chain of command. However, he was they left the door open for discipline if it was proven that he himself leaked the letter. So that's the question.
So here's my order of questions. Did he follow chain of command, got a bad response from them, jumped to the top? And then when he jumped to the top, did he get a negative answer from them? And was he the one that leaked it? Or did somebody else leak it? Did the news get a hold of it through some other method? And so
I have a theory.
Ways I view this. If he went straight to the top or didn't even go to the top straight up, maybe he went straight to the top, and when he dropped off the letter to the Secretary of Navy, he dropped off a second copy to the newspaper on the same day with giving them no time to react, then while I appreciate what he's trying to do to help his sailors, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. And I don't think that's what he should have done. Now, what do you think if he followed the chain of command, got shot down, if he went to the top, got shot down after several days, and he finally said, here's my Hail Mary, screw my career, I'm going to try to save lives, and he leaked it? What do you think?
I am obviously probably the most rogue member of this crew that we have on the show. And this is part of the reason why I was not able to join the military. I think if he did that, based on what you just said, I think he's entirely justified.
And that's the thing too. I think there's two different things. If he went from the get-go, panic, email the Secretary of Navy and send a copy to the newspaper and leak it all at once and put all this pressure on, I don't know that was the right way to go about it in this environment.
Probably not.
If he had tried every effort and he knew that there was a big issue aboard his carrier and it got shot down repeatedly, and he finally went with the Hail Mary and his conscience said, I need to save more lives than worry about this kind of blowback, then I might have been one of the ones giving him the standing ovation. Obviously, he has inspired, he has the confidence of his entire ship, his crew.
Yeah. Like so you don't give up your career as a captain of an aircraft carrier.
Correct.
Like you don't do that. That's not something that happens. Maybe if you're a sub captain, but not an aircraft carrier.
I don't know that you.
I'm just picking on
commanding any kind of ship in the fleet, but the only concern I think that the military would have from an organizational standpoint is, yes, okay, he got the respect of all of the people under him, but does he have the respect of the people under him in a way that's actually overall undermining to the chain of command, where now you almost have this one rogue ship that says, screw you to the chain of command. You know what I'm saying? So, and that all comes down to leadership making good decisions. Because if they were kind of hiding this scenario for security reasons or whatever.
It was over a week, they said, since they received the letter, and they were sitting on it. And they claimed they were working on things in the background, but no one can provide evidence that they were actually working on anything.
Okay, so here's my question is, all right, so you have him, he's pretty high ranking chain of command, right? So he's a captain.
Right.
Okay? Not to negate that, but he's a captain of one ship in the Navy. So in the grand scheme of things, he's high ranking or mid level, I guess, if you want to say, or upper mid level, I guess. So you have all of these other people that are in, I don't know, wherever, DC or wherever, that are going to be, over top of him, overarching of him, all the way up to the Secretary of the Navy, or whoever he is.
Right.
So you also have to consider that he may not have known all of the reasons why they were saying no. Okay.
Yes.
So one reason I can come up with is, Guam has, I believe it's about 150,000 people.
Not many people at all.
Right. So, small island out in the Pacific. They only have a few coronavirus cases. I think it's like 900. It's less than 1,000, I believe. So, you're going to potentially dump 5,000 people onto that island that are highly potential of having it.
Right.
Is that worth the risk of 150,000 people? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that, yes, we're completely disregarding life, but, you also have to look at the military's potential of, okay, so if we dump all of these people onto this island, all these sailors onto this island, what happens if that island blows up?
Yes. Was it their fault? Was it?
Right.
Yeah.
And that may have been an even worse PR move for them, looking at it, than keeping those sailors on the ship and just taking the downfall for that.
So typically, in the way it works in the Navy is that I believe it's the the aircraft carrier has an admiral on board who's in charge of the fleet or the battle group or whatever.
Usually the fleet commander, I believe, is also on the carrier, and then you also have the captain of the ship.
So I want to know, where was the fleet commander? Was he on board? Was he? I guess my question
I have is there more than one carrier in the battle group?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know what the battle group's like that it's in. See, this is where we don't know enough. This is where we're dangerous.
Right.
I'm looking this up right now.
Now, obviously, the battle group would all still be in communication with that one carrier.
So this is
I don't know if he was birthed on that ship or not.
I think it's the Carrier Strike Group 12. And in this deployment, 2015, 2019. All right, let's see. Oh, I don't think I'm in the right one here. Yeah, I don't think I'm on the right group here.
Actually, interestingly enough, there's an article in Popular Mechanics, February of this year, about this carrier strike group. The Big Stick Carrier Strike Group is packing some major firepower. The USS Theodore Roosevelt is
I like that for so many reasons
in history.
Is it really called the Big Stick? Please tell me that.
I hope so.
That's
so much.
So great.
I think so. Yeah.
I love that so much.
Or I think it's a nickname for the Theodore Roosevelt. They call it the Big Stick.
That's awesome.
I mean,
it's operating
why not?
in the Pacific.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I want to know. Let's see, which strike group is it with right now? And
I think it is the carrier. Let's see. Here we go. A U.S. carrier strike group typically consists of an aircraft carrier, one guided missile cruiser, and 2 or 3 guided missile destroyers. The cruiser is the main escort, particularly against aerial threats, lurking somewhere nearby as a nuclear power attack submarine, protecting the rest of the strike group from surface threats.
That's cool.
The carrier, the Theodore Roosevelt carrier strike group, is unusual because of the large number of escorts.
Well, it's over in the
Hill.
It's over in the east.
It's got the Bunker Hill cruiser. Let's see. Then it's got 5 Arleigh Burke class guided missile destroyers. The Pinckney, the Russell, the Paul Hamilton, the Kidd, and the Rafael Peralta.
Yeah, it's so as I'm reading here across this thing,
it's a big
it's
strike.
Definitely
it's the only carrier. It's the only carrier.
It's the only carrier, and it is the flagship of the group. So the admiral should be on board or somewhere close.
Maybe,
but
I don't know. It's my assumption that they're there. They could be on the escort cruiser as well.
We also, the other thing is, we don't know exactly how this all chain of command is working currently, because they may not be putting, the norms of having all of those high-ranking people on one ship for a specific reason of potential coronavirus.
Yeah, I have no idea how that part's working.
Or they may have pulled them off, or you know what I mean? I'm saying there's a lot of stuff that may be implemented just because of the times that we're in that is not a norm for operating procedures that are standard operating procedures.
Yeah.
It might be.
I guess what'll be curious to see is if the Navy was sitting on this truly, or whether they truly were, because I understand there's massive logistics, like they're explaining in some of these articles, of keeping a work. I mean, with nuclear powered ships, you don't just shut them off and then fire them back up later. Like, reactor is running. The reactor gets turned on and basically stays on until it's decommissioned on these things.
Right. So they have to keep a crew on board.
So they have to keep a crew on board. They've got munitions on board.
Sensitive information.
They've got to keep a security crew on board. They've got to keep a firefighting crew on board. There's obviously massive logistical issues with just dumping most of the crew off into quarantine.
Plus where they're at, their location too. I mean, Guam
Correct.
isn't exactly, Hawaii, or not Hawaii. It's not
exactly it's not exactly Hawaii.
It's not exactly San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? It's not exactly like you're in you're close to like the continental United States, and they may be worried about things of, if they dump all these people off, what are the potential?
Well, the
sabotage,
strategic,
whatever else.
But the strategic issue there too is like all of a sudden you're going to tell the world that you're dumping, 5,000 soldiers off, 5,000 sailors off your main flagship.
Right.
I mean, we got other reasons.
China's already flexing right now.
But
well, we have 5 carriers right now, 6 carriers maybe at most in the world.
I don't know the fleet,
which is ridiculous, by the way. Crazy.
I do know that our Navy is like bigger than the next 5 or 6 combined.
Yes,
I think so.
China, Russia, Italy, UK combined.
America.
But you're right. There's a lot of logistical issues. There's a lot of security issues.
And those are things
it'll be interesting as this plays out. I wonder if we will ever truly know, did this nervous captain, because you don't become the captain of a U.S. naval aircraft carrier by being some nervous Nelly that can't make good decisions. So it'll be curious to see who in this obvious game of chicken, essentially, that he played with them, who was in the right. It'll be very interesting to know.
Yeah.
But it's a serious situation. I guess that's why we're covering it.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yep. When we come back, we shall enter the quest of knowledge. We'll learn what people know and what they don't know.
This is going to be terribly disappointing.
It was not always a given that the United States and America would have a close relationship.
Hold on a sec. I'm going to get me a beer.
It's Mr. McMillan. Would you like 30 seconds more?
Allow me to introduce myself. The rent's too damn high.
We are back with the Front Porch Show. Gentlemen, it's time to flex your knowledge. We
pretty weak flex
are going to embark on a journey down the rabbit hole to 1984.
Somewhere there's like some listener on the show that's like, you fools didn't know all of these trivia questions.
I know. So that brings up the next question.
The ones I pulled out last week, was it with Tombstone? I think I impressed some people with my answers last week.
So listeners, do you think you can beat Jeff, Ozzy, or Tombstone in Trivial Pursuit? If you think you can,
definitely
drop us a text, drop us an email. We will schedule you on the show next Saturday morning to take them on.
Whatever works for you.
Or whatever. We can be flexible. I mean, it's coronavirus time, so we're like home. No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Some of us are.
We're essential.
We are all essential, unfortunately, or
fortunately. Unfortunately, I don't know.
Essential.
I am essential.
The only one
we are essential oils.
Is Tombstone? Are you essential too?
Technically, he thinks he is.
Not to this show.
Not to this show
because he's never around.
Because he's not here. I forgot to send him the letter, so he couldn't come to the studio and do the show. Anyways, even though we're remote, there was a joke about him traveling through his house as an essential worker.
Yeah, just get back on the topic. If you think you can beat one of us, drop us a line, text, call the message line, send us an email, tell us who you want to challenge, and we will set it up, and
we will provide the entertainment.
We want to work some listeners into this
if you have
Front Porch Show
any
Trivial
moderate
Pursuit.
Game show moderator experience.
We are hiring.
Wait, we are definitely hiring because Mathis is atrocious.
Thank you for that.
Can we remove the points from the game at this point since they don't affect the question at all?
Just yes or
I guess.
no, we got it right.
I guess
It's just no bidding points. The only reason to bid points is if a higher points is a tougher question.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's do it.
That or me and Jeff are just going to go with 1 point for each.
Okay, that's fine.
Or 3 points
So
for each
just
one. And
one-
it's just inflated numbers. It doesn't matter.
Well, it's just like our currency nowadays.
Ooh.
Mm.
Printing points.
Yeah,
like
we're
the
just
government.
printing points, just like the government's printing money. As I said the other day,
it's a fiat point.
As I
system
said the other
here.
day, guys,
it's not a backed point system.
it doesn't matter. The money doesn't matter in our country because the Fed just adds an extra zero to the end of their balance sheet. They're like, you have $4 trillion out there. Oh, add another one. What's that?
Him started, and he doesn't know what comes after trillion. So
I don't know what comes after trillion. What comes after trillion? Quadrillion? You don't know either. You don't know either.
No, but I wasn't trying to talk about it.
You don't know either. See, I was going to say billion, and then I was like, well, we have more than billions in the...
Yep.
Anyways.
All right.
All right. Well,
So,
like I said, moderator position is open.
So we are tackling the Trivial Pursuit Genus 2 edition, 1984. Why the 1984, you ask?
Because that's the one.
Because that's the one that was on the shelf, and that's the one I found. So,
and because he was there.
That was a little bit before
he
me.
actually
Just
wasn't.
a little bit. Just a little bit. So, gentlemen, we have our categories: geography, entertainment, history, arts. Is it arts and leisure?
No, it's arts and
Literature.
Literature.
Science and nature, and then sports and leisure. So, who won last week?
I did. When we played the three-way game, I beat
Yes. It was Jeff beat Tombstone.
It was not me.
So, Ozzy, it is your.
Ozzy's up.
You get to go first.
Let's do arts and leisure.
Arts and leisure for 1 point
Literature.
because
It's
that's all we're
literature,
doing.
folks.
Literature.
Arts and literature.
What country is Belfescu at war with in Gulliver's Travels?
There's the literature side of arts and literature.
I have no idea, honestly.
No idea?
Read it. Let's go with. Jeez, I've honestly not read this book, and I haven't watched the movie either. So we'll go with England.
That is incorrect. Jeff, this is your chance to steal.
Been a long time
I have
since I've seen Gulliver's Travels. Read the question again, just so I can delay. And
What country
not
is
get the answer.
Belfescu at war with in Gulliver's Travels?
I really don't know. France.
Okay, no, that is incorrect. It is Lilliput.
Lilliput.
Yep,
Wouldn't have
that
got
is
right.
correct.
Like I said, it's been way too long. I know
All right.
it's a classic. I know it's a classic, but it's just not on my radar.
No, that's okay.
They do. We should read Gulliver's Travels, though. I think that's the second or third question they've had about
We should
it.
read it on the air.
Yeah.
No, that would be so weird. No, let's not do that. Jeff, it is your turn for a question. What question would you like? Arts and literature has already been taken.
Let's go with history.
History. What did Roger Woodward, the Miracle Boy, tumble over in 1960 and live to tell the tale?
Niagara Falls.
That is correct. Wow, that's obscure.
Ding, ding,
It's
ding,
not
ding, ding, ding,
obscure. What else? Name one other thing that anybody's ever tumbled over that was famous enough to mention.
The Grand Canyon.
They don't tumble over that.
I probably wouldn't
The
have.
curb, a parking block. I don't know.
The edge of the earth.
The edge of the earth.
The edge
flat
of the
edge
earth. The flat edge of the earth. Well, the water just pours off.
Moment of silence for Mad Mike.
So hold. Okay. Thank you. So,
I think
question, Jeff.
I think I could hear the turtle breathing through the straw when we did that moment of silence.
If the water's just pouring over the edge of the earth, right? But just go with me here. If the water's just pouring over the edge of the earth, is the earth like one of those nasty chocolate fountains? Because like the water just pours over the edge and then it's got to like bubble up somewhere else. Or does the water just like?
All right,
I don't know.
History and arts and literature have
really
been taken.
reaching.
So what's the next
I'm just
category?
curious. Sorry, guys.
Science and nature.
Science and nature for 1 point.
Glad we avoided that.
What African animals are known as the Big Five? That means you need to.
There's 5 of them.
That means
All
yes,
right.
5 animals.
Elephant, giraffe, lions, hippopotamuses, and
Hippopotami.
alligators. I don't know. I mean, there's like a lot. I mean, I keep going with like gazelles.
Well,
or something.
it's the Big Five.
Okay, so then it's not alligators. And I have no idea.
Would you like to pass?
No. I would not. I would like 4 points.
I
I would like the 4 out of 5 points that I
We should
just
get a
got
point for
that.
everyone.
Well,
We get right.
most of those were wrong.
Most of those
Really?
are wrong.
I'm not going to tell. I'm not going to tell you which ones.
Are
No,
wrong.
I cannot. I cannot tell you which ones.
What?
But
All right.
a lot of those were wrong.
Stuff about
All right. Well, give it to Jeff then.
Okay, Jeff.
I'm very curious about that
All
because
right.
I would have thought I had at least 3 to 4.
the elephant, the hippo, the rhinoceros, the lion, and the wildebeest.
I'm guessing lion isn't.
All right. Well, guys, you both are wrong. I'm sorry.
Okay.
What are they?
This
What are
is
the big 5?
the Cape buffalo.
Oh, that meant
Oh.
that instead of the wildebeest. I literally
Oh,
was meaning the
sure.
buffalo though. No, I'm not even
It's
kidding.
fine, but it doesn't matter. That wasn't the
still, it
only.
doesn't
That
matter.
wasn't the only one you got
That-
wrong.
I'm sure it wasn't my only wrong, but I was thinking of that.
Yeah,
Grew up watching
yeah, sure.
Kratz Creatures. What can I say?
The elephant, which you both got. The leopard,
right. Wait,
I
what?
knew there was a cat in there.
the lion,
Okay.
and the rhinoceros. Hippopotamus is
So no
not
hippo.
ranked as one of the top 5, and I don't even know what
That's
the Big
bizarre.
5 are, so it doesn't.
It's
Yeah,
it's like
obviously
the
it's
top
not-
5 big game animals. I think it's
Oh.
not size wise. It's big game animals.
Yeah, because who wants to come home with a hippo?
I meant I did mean that buffalo when I said the other, but I would not have got the leopard. If anything, I was thinking there was a second cat, and I was
Yeah, I
going
would
to say
not have-
cheetah.
No.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so I wouldn't have got that.
Cheetah would have made sense to me. So
So you said it was the rhino.
Wait,
though.
wait,
the
wait,
rhino.
the rhino. So the Cape buffalo, the
Wait.
elephant, the leopard, the lion, and the rhino.
Cheeto would have.
Cheetah.
You said Cheeto. You
Did I say the Cheeto?
You definitely said
Well,
Cheeto.
you know.
Oh,
Like
I'm,
just a cheetah.
wow. Guys, wow. I'm
All right.
You definitely said Cheeto.
We're terrible at knowing our big game animals.
okay. So,
apparently.
seeing as how we've only got 1 right out of 3 so far, Jeff,
Sports and leisure.
Jeff's
sports and
winning.
leisure.
Still, but it's a close
Now,
game.
remember, this is in 1984.
Yeah, unfortunately. and I don't even follow sports that closely anyway.
This is where it's going to get.
Do the National Football League's Washington Redskins play home games on artificial turf?
No, they do not. The Redskins Stadium has real turf.
1984.
Yeah,
You are correct.
they've always
That's not
been
fair.
a real. They've always
That
been
is
a real
not
grass
fair. He
field.
literally gets a 50-50 chance on that, and I have to name 5 big
He
game
picked-
animals that
he
weren't
picked the
specifically
question.
big
You
game?
picked the category.
It's terrible.
50-50 chance. I knew that.
It
one.
is kind of funny that Ozzy keeps picking these questions and
Yes, he does.
What is
completely
it's like those-
screwed.
It's like the true and false questions at school where it's like, if it's false, tell us why. And it's like, what are you talking about? It's a true and
Keel
false
hauling.
question.
That's all I have to say. Keel
Oh my
hauling.
gosh, yeah, seriously.
All right. Yeah. Wow. Yes. All right, gentlemen. We have
What's
geography left. We have entertainment left.
And
Entertainment.
that's it.
And that's it.
Entertain me, man.
Entertain me. Who sang Love and Marriage in the TV musical version of Our Town? Jeff knows it.
I Doris Day. I have no idea. I've never seen Our Town. I have no clue.
Well,
do you really
know
it?
So the look of confidence on Jeff's face was incredible. So when he gets it wrong, I'm going to die.
I don't know about Our Town, but is that not a Frank Sinatra song?
Yes, it is. Well done.
Is it? Oh, come on.
Well done.
Dang it.
Well done.
All right, last question. Do the last
Jeff,
question. Come on.
Jeff, last question.
Classic Sinatra.
Last question, Jeff.
All right.
What Caribbean tax haven boasts the world's highest per capita number of telexes?
Of what?
Telexes.
What's that?
Capital TELEXES.
It's an old system for sending money, I do believe, and probably the Caymans.
Can you be more specific?
The Cayman Islands?
Yes, that is correct. I didn't want to look.
How was that more specific?
I did not want to have a conflict of interest there, guys.
To add the word island to the end of that.
I would like to.
Ladies,
are there other Caymans?
Like there's the creature that's a caiman, right? Like, isn't that a lizard or something? But like,
guys, if you want in on trivia, call us, email us, reach out to us. We want you to play trivia against the guys.
Pick Ozzy because
pick Ozzy so you can win. We'll be right back.
It's sad but true.
It is a cornhole tournament fundraiser. Cut the crap.
I just want her to come in and do all our intros.
Is it a fundraiser or a fundraiser?
A fundraiser.
Oh, it's a fundraiser, man.
Yeah, that's why she had to tell him to cut the crap because it was no fun anymore.
Yeah.
Boom.
Dude, her and Mike Leach need to get together. That is like a Vegas show right there, man.
It's good. I like
that
it.
Would be awesome.
Man, it's crazy. Ozzy, you send this this thing. All you do is all it says is rescam.
Okay.
And then you send a link, and I go to rescam.org, and it pops up something questionable, and I think I have a virus.
So
this is why I don't click on email from Ozzy.
Here's what I was doing this week. I got stuck on the YouTubes watching a guy go after these scammers that are in India and how they keep scamming people and stuff like that. It was this 4-part, like 20 to 30 minutes long each segment or whatever, on how he broke into their CCTV and he was doing all this. And anyway, got them all arrested eventually because he got all the information to a news organization who got it to the cops. But
you need a life during quarantine, my friend. That's all I'm going to say.
I seriously do. I wasted like about an hour to almost 2 hours on that. So what rescam is, if you get a scam email, you can forward it to rescam, RESCAM, and it is an artificial intelligence that will respond to the email indefinitely.
Whoa, what?
Yep. And so
how often? Hourly, daily?
Like every
minute?
time. Like every time that the person responds, like it's an artificial intelligence to keep them going so that they keep the people occupied so you can't scam anybody else.
It doesn't spam them. It gives answers like they're talking to you to keep them focused on you.
Oh, man.
Yep.
It's essentially what was that guy's name? James Leach or James?
Yeah. Beach. Isn't it Veach or something?
Veach. I think it was Veach that went back and forth with the guy. It's
So
essentially
that's-
him in AI form.
Yes, that's basically what it is. So it has multiple different personalities and messages and stuff that it'll send back and forth to keep people occupied. You can go on the website. I think they're shut down at this point because they're doing
Because the government shut him down.
revamping of their system or something like that. But
Wait. So you tell us about this thing that we can't actually use.
no, because they're doing their technical. They were down the other day.
This
because they
all
were doing
seems like a
technical
scam,
updates and stuff like that.
if I'm being
but
honest.
It's called rescam, rescam.org. And you can check that out, and it gives you like the website to email and tells you what they've done and how long. And I think between the emails, they've wasted 5 years worth of time of scammers. It tells you they've done sent over like 1,000,000 something emails, 1,012,000 emails. And it wasted
irony
over 5
is-
years of scammers' time. So I thought it was kind of cool because it's kind of, I don't know. It seemed like a neat thing, and I liked the idea.
I think it's a
The
cool
irony-
idea. I think it's certainly a cool idea.
The irony is the scammers are also using AI, so we've just wasted 5 years of two computers just arguing back and forth.
Yes.
Didn't we talk about that on the show like 2 years ago, where the computers were talking to each other and then they came up with their own short speak lingo?
Yeah, they created their own language, and then people didn't know what was happening, so they had to shut the computer down.
Because they were afraid they were going to take
AI.
over the world.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think it
like,
went that bad.
What was that movie with the kid and the War Games?
Ah, what a great movie! I watched that the other day.
Want to play a game?
So yeah, yet again another movie that is not that's like rated PG, but the language is like R today.
Again,
I mean, that's
why
the
is
80s,
that?
wasn't
Was
it?
it before 1987?
It was.
It was before
No.
Temple of Doom. It could be rated PG because the only other options were G, PG, and then R.
Really
Yeah.
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, and R was like
Yeah, I guess
R
you're
was
right.
like
You're right.
NC-17. Like R was like bad back then.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then
Oh, yeah. It
PG
was
was like bad,
PG
and then
was you needed to have your parents' parental guidance. So
Crazy.
PG wasn't some thematic elements because
there was a
there
lot of-
happened to be magic in the Disney movie, and so we had to rate it PG.
yes,
So
there were some highly questionable elements and or language.
Right. Gentlemen, the other day I see an article pop up that says that coronavirus could cause mental issues.
Then you guys definitely have it.
It says the infection could actually affect your brain. And then what I see here is man in coronavirus quarantine runs into street naked before biting woman to death.
Zombieland. Welcome to Zombieland.
Guys,
Wait,
if
bite
I
her to
told
death?
you...
I just heard he bit somebody. I
No,
didn't hear he killed her. But
bit her to death. Guys, if I told you last year that the zombie apocalypse is going to happen in 2020, would you have believed me?
No.
2019 going the way it was, probably.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. As I said, 2020 is like, hold my beer.
If I see some article that says a man named Van Helsing comes out of hiding or something like that, I'm going to lose my mind.
Oh, what a great movie, by the way. I really liked, yeah. I really enjoyed that movie. I don't know why.
This is the guy that's
I know. I don't like fantasy movies or anything.
completely attacks like any,
I know.
What was
the CGI sucked, guys.
What was the movie of the
Midway.
movie,
Midway.
He like completely attacks
I know.
Midway, but
I
he's
know.
like Van Helsing. That was a good movie.
I'm saying I like the story. I like the story.
Here is severely lacking.
It always has been, Ozzy. That was why we do the show. People are like,
I've literally got nothing. Like I just can't
people
even-
are like, we like them, but their credibility is severely lacking.
and that's why people like us.
And by the way, just to make our credibility last a little bit longer, if the man would have had on tinfoil on his head, it would have been fine. So wear tinfoil, you won't be affected. That's our.
My question is,
advice.
were there a lot of chemtrails in the sky over the area where this happened?
There might be. I mean, this was Italy, but he was flown home from Sri Lanka when he was, I guess, tested positive and then was ordered to not leave his house for 14 days. So he's in Italy. After a week of isolation, the 35-year-old man began ripping his clothes off before hurtling into the street in Tamil Nadu. And he raced up to a woman, an elderly woman.
Italy or India?
India. I'm so sorry, guys. Did I say Italy?
Pretty sure you said Italy.
Okay,
Yeah.
India. So an elderly lady, 80-year-old woman, was sitting outside of her home sleeping, and he rushed up to her.
Wait, what?
So is it Spain? Are they taking siestas?
No,
I'm
it's
really
India.
lost now.
India.
Outside of her home sleeping?
Yeah, people do this, guys. Yes.
Name 5.
Let's see, Mexico.
His whole family. That's a person?
No, like places I've seen this.
He said name 5 people.
I have seen this all through.
He's been listening to Trump too much.
I have seen this in Italy when I was in Italy. I've seen this in.
Wait. You specifically saw a naked man attack.
No,
the
sleeping outside.
That way, I'm still on board with.
And actually, it was Italy. Yes, I did, Ozzy. Yes, I did.
I don't even want to know.
Yes, I did. Italy is a very open place.
The sleeping outside thing is a little weird to me, but I get this. The countries that observe the siesta, and you might take a nap on your front porch or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it all through the Caribbean, Mexico, Italy.
I'd take a little nap.
Oh,
on
that
the backyard.
sounds lovely. Except for today, it's only like 40 out. So
it's like gorgeous today here,
and there's still ice on the trees from the ice storm we had yesterday. But so yes, he saw her sleeping and ran up to her and clamped down on her neck and bit. The woman woke up screaming.
Sure he's not a vampire?
Guys, I honestly don't know.
That could explain the running through the streets because he was exposed to sunlight.
They rushed her to the hospital and she died at the hospital.
So he
an enraged mob
when he bit her neck.
An enraged mob caught him and handed him over to police.
Did they use stakes or silver bullets?
I think they may have beat the crap out of him first. Yeah.
That's bizarre.
It's just very, very bizarre. Could it have been a fever-induced like hallucination? Or is this guy just absolutely nuts? Or did the coronavirus go to his brain and mess with him?
Are you sure he didn't? Are you sure he wasn't just mentally unstable to begin with?
The article gives no indication of so. In fact,
for the fact that he ran through the streets naked and bit someone.
In fact, he's a businessman. He's a businessman, and that's why he was in Sri Lanka to begin with.
Has anyone checked on Tombstone and his fever? I'm just saying, he's not here this morning. Is someone checking the streets
hold on,
South Carolina?
Don't do it. I don't want to
hold
see
on.
anything.
What are your thoughts, Tombstone? Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. It's very bizarre. The whole thing's very bizarre.
You should have had Tombstone play the game and lose. At least I wouldn't have come in last.
He times out his answers every time. That's wrong.
Go back to that segment. We're re-recording.
No way. I answered every question of mine correctly, plus took at least one of yours.
Oh, man. Guys, dating has taken a strange turn here in the coronavirus era.
You struggling? You struggling with your dating life?
No, I'm personally not, but I understand the people who are.
Are you trying to find,
there was a Brooklyn man. Excuse me?
This is an unauthorized segment. He did not clear this with us before it started,
not.
so I just apologize in advance.
Oh, be quiet.
Off the rails.
Brooklyn man wooed woman via drone, and then he wears a protective bubble to take her out for a
I
date.
saw this. People are desperate.
They are very desperate.
I haven't actually seen the movie, but I hear it's called Bubble Boy.
Yes. So this relationship started on TikTok, I guess.
Oh, because that's okay, folks. Just for clarity.
I was joking.
Okay, because at the beginning of the show, Mathis had to ask what TikTok was.
No, he didn't
Also,
ask. He was like, "Is that something we can say?" We're like, "Where have you been? What are you talking about?" He went full boomer. Like it was completely.
And then I was
say your
just like,
TikTok. How dare you talk about that? Make sure you use protection.
Oh my goodness, Ozzy. Ozzy's done. Ozzy's done for the day.
I'm done.
Doomstorm,
what are your thoughts?
So it didn't start on TikTok, unfortunately, because that would have just been priceless.
No, I did actually watch this video thing or whatever. It started out with this desperate guy sitting on his I guess not his porch, his veranda. I don't know, whatever you call him. Outside of his apartment. Outside of his apartment complex, and he was peering down like David on. No, I'm not going to.
Wow! No, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. All right,
this is Brooklyn, not Italy.
His apartment complex overlooked the roof of the building that the girl.
Oh, really?
Yes.
This is very wow.
Analogy, but
so this is a stalker. Is this a stalker story?
Was his name David?
So she's chilling on the roof sunbathing, and he's spying on her with his drone.
Sunbathing. But anyway, so somehow they got, I don't know, waving at each other or something like that. And so he decided that, of course he's an introvert, quote unquote, except for the fact that he's doing everything he can to get a girl.
He's a nerd. He's a nerd.
Right. So he sends over this drone.
No offense to nerds, because basically that's all of us on this show.
With a note and his phone number or something like that on it, and then flies it back, and an hour later she texted him.
Hey.
Aww.
They had a dinner, quote unquote, together. So one of them sat on their rooftop, the other one sat. And we're talking about these people are like 50 or 60 yards away from each other.
Hey,
plus
props to him for making a move.
About 3 to 5 stories.
Yeah, I mean, come on, clever.
And
clever.
Anyway, so he winds up buying one of those giant bubbles you can walk in.
For bubble soccer?
Yes, like one of those type, and so he blows this thing up outside of his apartment building, and then they met for a walk.
Aww.
And they walked down the street and then got pulled over by the cops.
Are you serious?
Who apparently only wanted photos with them or something.
That's hilarious.
And
wow.
They were using their power to get photos with them, which is even worse. Oh, wait.
Wow.
So anyway, so this is how desperate that America has become.
But now, okay, just to be clear, it sounds like this guy was desperate before the coronavirus situation happened, and it has actually provided him with a unique outlet to expand his potentials in the dating realm. So.
Yeah, so anyway, so you are...
That might be straight up American ingenuity right there.
It may be.
It's possible, yes.
Gentlemen, another alarming story of people doing desperate things during desperate times here. This is a resident of the western U.S. state of Washington was arrested following a high-speed chase that left officers dumbfounded after they found the man's pit bull behind the wheel.
Oh.
Yes, I said that properly. The man's pit bull was behind the wheel.
Is this like that dog that got stuck in reverse in the
Oh, in the cul-de-sac? Kept driving around backwards? Yeah. Could be very similar. This was Sunday.
Your dogs are taking over.
Sunday afternoon. This would have been...
We thought it would be apes. It's dogs.
This would have been March the 29th.
They're rebelling against China.
A driver hit 2 vehicles in South Seattle, then sped away. I'm totally ignoring you two.
The cats are next.
No, I'm listening to you. I'm just laughing at how Ozzy's having.
I know.
With himself
He's
over
just
there.
Emergency services. Hit two vehicles, sped away, driving erratically, 100 miles an hour. They drove chase. It was a 1996 Buick. Who was in the driver's seat? It was the pit bull.
How old is
Wait, like pit bull?
Was he like grandma age old because he was driving a Buick?
I am uncertain.
Like Pitbull, the singer?
But the dog was in the driver's seat, and the man was reached over, pushing the gas and holding the steering wheel from the passenger's side.
Why?
The police deployed spike strips and arrested the 51-year-old Alberto Tito Alejandro, who was booked on multiple felonies, including driving under the influence of drugs.
So drugs were involved.
Drugs were involved in the story.
One more today.
If they weren't, I would have thought it was a lie.
No, you would have been correct.
I also wondered if he just switched seats with the dog once he got pulled over. So when the cops walked up, he was like, "It's not my car."
No, allegedly.
The answer.
These are not my pants.
You know that's always the claim on Live PD. It's
Did the
not
dog
their car.
look at him
It's not their pants.
No.
Did they bring the canine unit up to the car to talk to the dog? It was the dog like, I'm only a traveler, man.
But wait. To get the dog's ID, wouldn't the canine unit then have to sniff the dog driver's butt?
Oh, good grief, you two.
It's like assault and battery right there. How did they get away with this?
Oh, no.
What state was this? Washington?
Cool
What's wrong with these people?
Okay.
How dare they abuse the system like this?
Oh, boy.
The comments are absolutely gold.
I was trying to avoid Ozzy, but he drew me in. And
he did.
This is hilarious.
Yes.
Now,
oh, man.
All this jokes about going off the rails here actually, I recalled my attention to a more serious topic about off the rails. Did you guys see this thing? I thought I saw the article on April 1st, and so honestly didn't believe it at first. That this guy in California, the Comfort is in New York and the Mercy is in California, the two hospital ships, there's one on either coast helping.
Yes. Yeah.
And some guy an engineer of a train.
Oh, yeah.
Derailed a train in an attempt to drive it into the hospital ship.
Right.
Now, how close was he? How close was he?
Well, first off, how close was he? How in the world do you do that and get it pointed even remotely the right direction?
I did look at this. I actually looked at it they had photos. Somebody, I guess, had taken a drone or something and flown it up over top of there. He was roughly, basically, the train track looked like it ended right before an overpass for the highway.
Did it just end, or was it a curve?
It looked like
it was
ended.
like an end with a little, the
it
little
looked
stop
like
in
it
the
ended,
end.
I'm guessing. But he blew through that.
Pointed straight at the dock, so it ended pointed at the dock. Is that what it was?
At the docks, but not really. Like, if it would have gone straight, he may have clipped the ship, maybe. But I mean, it looked like he was about maybe 600 yards to 1,000 yards away from even hitting it, like when the train stopped.
Like, if you're going to drive a vehicle into another vehicle, you should not pick the one vehicle that is completely contained upon a set of rails.
Yeah, seriously, I don't think he ever had.
Not that I
chance
advocate doing this at all.
No.
By the time the train stopped, it was only, and I don't know where the track was, to be honest with you, but from the overpass is right where the train stopped. It was like right after it got under the overpass. To the dock was probably 600 to 1,000 yards. So he wasn't even remotely close to hitting it.
Yeah.
But
I just don't understand. Were drugs involved in this too?
Had to be something. That is such a
Do you know where in the port it was, Ozzy?
I don't know. There was like a photo. I have no idea exactly.
I'm just curious about where it was located.
What was his motivation? Have we found that out yet?
Yeah, he said he wanted to attack the hospital ship.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But why? Why do you want to? Do you do it because you hate the military? Do you do it because you hate the government? Do you do it because you want people to die of coronavirus? Like, what is the reason?
He doesn't believe the ship is what they say it's for.
Oh, it's
right.
Yes.
Exactly. All right, now we know what's going on.
Let's see.
And now you need a psych eval to drive a train.
I want to see the picture of where it hit, like where it went off the rails.
It didn't even get close.
No, it really wasn't close. Let me see if I can find them.
I just thought literally. I saw that article
I'm curious
April
about
1st, and I chose to not believe it for several hours till it was coming out through multiple news sources. Because if it had said car or truck or airplane, I would have probably believed it, even though it was April 1st. But on April 1st, when I see an article that says a man attempted to drive a train into a ship,
it's
the physics of that are so far off that I just didn't believe it at first.
I don't know if I've told you this, guys, but I was at the Port of Los Angeles about 3 months ago.
Oh boy, he was there.
Yeah, I was there. No,
were they tearing down walls?
No, but I saw folks driving trains.
Into ships?
They couldn't get close enough.
Like I'm curious about where the boat was and where the train was.
I mean, the boat's in the harbor, in the dock. Like, it's docked.
The Port of Los Angeles is huge, though. My point being, the Port of Los Angeles is huge.
Listen, look at the video that I just sent.
What video did you just send?
I just sent a video.
We deal.
But look, there's
Folks,
like a
this is what we deal
building.
with.
There's like a building between him and the boat, so he would have had to go on through the building. He's already off the tracks at this point.
He's watched one too many Tarantino movies, and so or Michael Bay movies, maybe more. So
I'm sorry, I think it's a parking lot. It's not a building.
Oh, good grief! This guy's nuts.
Yeah.
Wow! Welcome to the conversation, Aaron.
He literally had to drive the train across pavement. This guy's an idiot.
Where have you been?
It took this long.
Okay, so I heard y'all say that, but I was looking at a map while I'm doing this. So this is over at the cruise terminals.
Okay.
It's the Los Angeles World Cruise Center and Cruise Port Terminal. I've been there.
Oh yeah,
I've been there.
I have a map in my head.
Did you see the train or hear the train?
I know. I saw the train tracks where the train would have come across, and it's impossible. This guy's nuts, guys.
Which is why when I saw the article that said a man tried to drive a train into a boat,
I know,
1st,
I know.
I didn't believe it at first.
But I expected this to be like semi close. This wasn't even remotely semi close. He tried to drive the train under a highway.
No, he did drive the train under the highway.
Technically, he did. You're right. You're right.
Didn't get very far.
Oh my goodness. All right. So on that note,
thank you for rehashing exactly what me and Jeff said for the past 6 minutes of this conversation.
I feel like Mathis was running on Windows 95 during that conversation,
yes.
And he's just buffering in the background, like the little AOL dial-up is going off, and all of a sudden he's like, "Bing, I'm here."
I was
for the conversation.
I was looking at other articles. I apologize for not being involved.
Are you operating on Internet Explorer, or what's going on over there?
It reminded me of the lag you have sometimes in your signal coming in.
Oh, it was way worse than just the lag from this VoIP that we have. It's
Okay, so as we close out, I just want to say I am incredibly proud of us and our technology here on the Front Porch Show.
Oh, yeah.
We sound better than most professionally produced shows out there at this point.
Yeah.
Where professionally produced shows are actually taking their folks and sending them home and using Zoom
Not giving them any equipment.
Yeah, no equipment, and using their little lapel, microphones hanging off their earbuds. Guys, if the Front Porch Show can do it, you can do it too.
Well, and obviously we have an advantage because from the beginning we knew we were going to be doing this remotely, and you dropped some coin on sending us some audio equipment.
Yeah,
we're still great at using it.
But come on, man, a radio station can't afford to send mics home with their folks.
Well, true, but I just don't think they ever thought about the ability of remote. They have their way of remote. They have their way of setting up at See, that's true though, because I know some of the stations, like
Yeah.
country stations and stuff, will do like remote setups
Yeah.
at concerts and
And
stuff.
they use Comrex machines to do that.
And so, but apparently they didn't want to send all that equipment to everybody's homes, and so they said, "Go home and we'll do this over Skype."
We'll do it Skype, we'll do it Zoom, and it's like, guys, the audio quality is absolutely terrible.
Yes.
And like nationally syndicated radio shows.
You want to talk
But
about?
hey, they're not talking over each other.
Okay. So,
To reference one of our biggest listener complaints, we try, guys. We try. It's a little tough because there's a slight delay.
We do have about.
talks over
I know
you and I
we
talk over him.
we do have about 0.25 seconds of delay, and it is worse for the remote guys than it is for me.
Hold on. Aaron, me and Jeff have about 2.5 seconds of delay. You had about 6 minutes of delay.
2.5 minutes of delay.
On that last story.
Wow, yeah. So I there's no excuse on that, gentlemen. I apologize. But yeah, like, so there's obviously technicalities with doing things remote, and we certainly understand that. But I'm just really proud of us, for being able to be in front of the curve on that one. And it's kind of funny listening to these guys who, have been in the business for 30 years, who aren't really producing great shows right now. And we're like, well, hey.
The other thing is, like, with ESPN or whatever, like, they're doing a lot better than they were, but there's still, like, people that aren't in the studio that aren't on great setups at all. But it's shocking. Like, it really is, because I would have thought, oh, okay, everybody has a computer. Like, we're working off of our home computers that none of us have bought any of that equipment.
Right.
I think the only thing we bought is microphones, and we have headphones, but the headphones aren't really
Leave my
audio
early 2000s Lenovo ThinkPad on Wi-Fi, on the cheapest Comcast Wi-Fi I can get alone, okay?
Let's not talk about Wi-Fi here, because that's my biggest issue with both of you right now.
I love you.
Is you're on Wi-Fi, and there's latency over Wi-Fi.
You come wire my house.
But yeah, but they're running out of things to talk about too.
Especially the sports people.
The sports. Now, have you heard about this? Is what is crazy is ESPN is now putting on live games of two NBA basketball players playing NBA 2K live.
Are they actually doing that?
Against each other. That is how desperate
NASCAR, though.
Sports.
NASCAR did the same thing, didn't they? Aren't they racing each other digitally?
I'm not sure.
Esports, and it's like,
but no. But NASCAR is different because you can get those like wheels and you know what I'm saying?
But NASCAR's fine because it's boring. It's boring anyways. It's just a bunch of guys turning left for 4 hours. Oops,
right.
I just alienated all our Southern listeners.
You're a jerk, Jeff.
I would say that there's still skills involved because of the setups that you can have. I'm using.
If you had a
loosely.
sweet setup, with a pedal, a steering wheel,
which I think that's what they're rolling with.
Cool.
But what I'm saying though is like two basketball players playing with their thumbs. It doesn't matter who is the better basketball player technically, because
it matters who's the better esports player. Because have you tried to play against people in online gaming?
I was gonna say, yeah, man. I used to be big in the Battlefield 4 arenas, and like I used to play it a lot, like way too much.
Meaning he enjoyed playing it.
Yes, yeah, not big as in really good, but big as in I was decent. I could hold my own. A lot of times I'd end up first place in a match every once in a while. But point being, there's guys out there who are crazy good at this ridiculous stuff.
Right.
But people make livings on this.
And so some elementary school kid could easily beat LeBron James at
And don't get me wrong, ESPN does have, like, if you get ESPN Plus, they do have an actual gaming, like, showdowns that they do for esports. Yeah.
I know.
They're very impressive. They're not doing them right now because they're usually all in a room and it's like a team of, like, 8 people on each team and stuff like that. But
let's bring back BattleBots or whatever that was. You remember that on, like, Discovery Channel?
Yes, that was a great show.
Yes.
What a great show.
Awesome. And Junkyard Wars. Do you remember that?
That was fantastic. I enjoyed that a lot.
Fantastic as well.
Yes.
That was a good show.
So there's a lot of random things to watch, but
a lot of weird things happening. Like it is weird to see the transition in our economy and in our entertainment of things getting weird.
We might, if you guys haven't watched it, and it's really weird. So I'm not necessarily saying I am for it, but it's very interesting. We're talking about things to watch in quarantine. Have either of you guys watched what is kind of the sensation right now and also taking over the meme?
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to watch
Tiger
it.
King.
I am going to watch it.
We do not
It
have
is
Netflix,
weird.
so I'm not
It is
watching it.
not
I'm not paying to watch that.
small
specifically.
child friendly for language and other weirdness. But
I've seen
goodness.
parts of it, but
my goodness.
it's so strange. Apparently,
It is
that's
just-
opening up an investigation again into
Yes.
the
Is
lady's
it?
death.
The
Yeah.
Carol Baskin's husband's death.
On the
Folks.
news yesterday, that was a specific thing they said is that a lot of people are calling into the whatever police department with anonymous tips now.
Yep. Isn't that ridiculous?
Without spoilers, Joe Exotic is a nut job. But I also think Carol Baskins killed her husband. I think both things can be true at the same time.
You mean just like Ed seen as a pervert and he didn't kill himself?
Yes,
Yes,
exactly
yes.
like that. So folks, just remember, Carol Baskin's husband and Jeffrey Epstein have one thing in common: they did not
kill themselves.
There's also, in case you were wondering, you can look it up. O.J. Simpson actually has an opinion about this and thinks that the lady murdered her husband.
Wait. Does O.J. Simpson have a true crime podcast? Because if he ran his own true crime podcast,
do you remember he wrote the book If I Did It?
They did play that on ESPN.
his podcast should be called The White Glove or something like that.
Seriously, do you guys remember he wrote a book called If I Did It?
Broncos and Gloves.
No.
All I remember about O.J. Simpson was that as a child, it annoyed me because the trial was always on, and I just knew that some annoying lady with a crooked mouth named Greta was interrupting my cartoon time because my grandma was too busy watching the O.J. trial instead of letting me watch my cartoons.
I think that's what we should call Tombstone is Greta.
So this
Karen and Greta over here.
So this is If I Did It: Confessions of the Killer by O.J. Simpson, Pablo Veneves, who's a ghostwriter, Dominic Dune, and the Goldman family. And
that's
called
just weird.
If I Did It. Basically, he confesses all in this book, and
Wait, I don't know.
but that's if I did it. If I did it, this is how I would have done it.
Who writes a book like that?
O.J. Simpson does. O.J. Simpson does.
I'm so glad that we got to this point.
What? Why are we talking about O.J. Simpson? I don't know. Oh, because if I did it, I want to know how he thinks Carol Baskin did it. Anyways,
call him up. Let's get him on the show.
Get him on the show.
Interview OJ about
I'm not
Carol
gonna lie.
Baskin.
I would still accept his autograph if he gave it out.
Really? Really?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I'd just be very aware of my surroundings, I guess.
Well, I mean, it can't be much worse than pissing off Hillary Clinton.
Have you done that?
I hope not.
So, okay, I don't want to. Never mind. I'm gonna not even talk about this.
Let's
Anyways,
not do this.
let's not do this.
Whatever-
I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you guys off the air after the show. Guys, if you want to check out the Front Porch Show, www.thefrontporchshow.com, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Google Podcasts, anywhere where you like to get your online content, we are there.
Yep.
And you can listen to us 105 something episodes to go through. If you are new with us, check them out. Reach out to us if you want to play trivia. We'll be waiting. We'll be ready.
Epstein didn't kill himself. Who sang that. Oh, Frank. That's right.
Oh, it was
Jeff
old
could be
Frank.
like, old Blue Eyes himself.
Old Blue Eyes himself, because I couldn't remember his name for half.
Part of the Rat Pack.
Yep.
I knew that.
Yep.
He sings. They play him singing "Our Town" in one of the Ocean's movies. I assume the first one, if I remember correctly.
I watched the original Oceans. Not as good as the new ones.
No.
You mean
But it's
the Rat Pack
classic.
original?
The Rat Pack original.
Yeah.
Oceans.
I actually haven't. I have the whole. I think I have.
It, like it's good, but it's not as
that one
good.
in it, but I haven't watched it.
I like the ending though. The ending is very just.
Yes.
It is
Yes, it
very
is.
Don't they get caught or whatever in the end of that
No.
one? They don't get away
No,
with it.
they don't get caught, but all the money gets burned.
Yes.
The guy who gets cremated, and it's hilarious.
Yep. And I also like the Rat Pack when they did the Italian job, but
the Rat Pack did the Italian job too.
They certainly did.
I haven't seen the original.
I believe it was a Rat Pack, but it was also with Michael
Keaton, Douglas,
Jackson, the old guy,
Jay Smith,
Moore,
Myers,
Michael W. Smith,
Jordan.
I hate you guys.
Jordan, Bloomberg.
He's old.
You people, I hate you so much.
We're trying to help. I don't know who the Michael is. Phelps.
Michael Caine, you idiots.
Oh, that guy.
Michael Caine.
You missed Michael Caine. I'm out. I'm leaving. Goodbye. You guys pushed me to the edge. I'm done.